वेलकम बैक ऑन द सेकंड इनिंग पॉडकास्ट। ये एक पॉडकास्ट नहीं है, लेकिन इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि इसमें कंटेंट नहीं है। इस वीडियो में आपको आन्या जय मैम, जिनके साथ हमने एक पॉडकास्ट रिकॉर्ड किया है, जो नेक्स्ट वीक आएगा, उनके साथ जो फर्स्ट टाइम मीटिंग करी थी उसके कुछ क्लिप्स मिलेंगे। इसमें कुछ बहुत अच्छे अच्छे टॉपिक्स हैं, इसीलिए इसके कुछ वो इंपॉर्टेंट सेक्शंस कट करके हमने यूट्यूब के ऊपर डाले हैं। इसमें कोलकाता रेप केस के ऊपर डिस्कस किया है, इसमें थेरेपी क्या हर इंसान के लिए सुटेबल होती है कि नहीं होती, इसके ऊपर डिस्कस किया है। और भी कुछ टॉपिक्स है इसमें, की पॉइंट्स में मिल जाएंगे आपको, तो इसको एंड तक देखना। अच्छा क्वालिटी कंटेंट है, इसीलिए इस मीटिंग को भी शेयर कर रहे हैं। और कंप्लीट पॉडकास्ट देखने के लिए, जिसमें इन डिटेल बहुत सारे टॉपिक्स के बारे में बात करी है, उस पॉडकास्ट को देखने के लिए चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर देना अगर अभी तक नहीं करा है। एंड इसको एंड तक देखो और सब्सक्राइब कर दो। Okay. You said something about how therapy is not always the complete solution for everyone.
Yes.
I want you to elaborate more on that. How?
So, therapy requires a certain amount of vulnerability and an acceptance that there is something that's amiss and I really need. Many individuals, especially in our current society, that is not possible. People cannot get vulnerable, and it's not their fault per se. They don't want to because, the self is so soft already or it's so fragile that exposing it to something else may even destroy it and people may lose it. And of course, with respect to men also, men seeking therapy is again considered, the stigmas associated with it. Also, things that people are not realizing is just the way doctors are, like, there's ENT specialist, there's a gynac, there is a brain surgeon. Same thing is in therapy as well. There are multiple specialities are there. But what are people doing? People, agar they are having relationship issues, they are going to life coaches. It means it's very, they don't know what kind of person or therapist they need to go to.
So basically, different kind of problems with different depth have different kinds of professionals to help them out.
Yes, and
Not a
plus
common one with a tag therapist.
Yes, and
Okay.
plus, like now, see, for me, when I do, most of my clients also, I'm comfortable with a very informal approach, in the sense that I believe that I have studied human behavior for the past 10 years and more. I have the insights. I am not of the opinion that I keep my client keep waiting. Like, many psychologists will say, "Khud ko, client, there is a free will. The client has to come up with insights." A person who has not studied human behavior, do you know how difficult it is, how frustrating it is for them? And then that's why it takes so much longer. 8 sessions ho gaye, 9 sessions ho gaye, kuch ho hi nahi, hasil hi nahi ho raha, because the psychologist is that nahi, they should do it. It should be a self-learning. I am not. Now, of course, I do not consider myself as a mainstream psychologist. The way I function is not how most psychologists in the country or even in the world might be working in. I have my own ways. I have my own biases. I have my own backgrounds that I come up with. So that is going to affect. So it's very important that before you seek therapy, you know your therapist. So a good therapist will always give you a free 15-minute or 20-minute call to see if you are the right client for them as well. बट आजकल क्या हो रहा है मार्केटिंग में, नहीं आओ हम करेंगे, वी हैव सो मेनी थेरेपिस्ट, प्लीज जॉइन अस, प्लीज डू दिस, एंड देन दे जस्ट मैच बाय देमसेल्व्स. But it is not done in a very scientific and proper way because they want clients, right? As long as person is, and mismatch ho jata hai. So clients who do come to me, they also have certain traits. They are logical. They have some self awareness, and they're open to experience also at the same time. Now, someone who is very strict and very methodical, I may not be the right therapist. There are people who just want to vent. They do not want to fix any problem. Like, they don't want to take any action. Right. They just want someone to talk to. I am not the right therapist for them. I tell them, and when they realize it, and this was in the beginning, and then I would tell them, and they also agree, हाँ ठीक है, फिर that's not how it is. So you need to find the right therapist for you, and that is why in itself it cannot be done. And I also believe it's very logistical. If you are in a bad relationship, sometimes there is no other option than to leave that relationship. Many people can't do that when they are not ready. So for that action needs to be taken. No amount of therapy. It's like, the environment that you're in. If you are going to be working in a petrol pump, imagine that, okay? and you are inhaling the toxic fumes and you're complaining that you're having lung infections and stuff like that, until and unless you don't change your job, how do you expect that no amount of medication, you're still inhaling that, you're still consuming that? So these are certain logistical approaches people need to take. Otherwise, you just talk every week, you're meeting the therapist, every 2 days you will talk. How will that help when you are not actually the root cause जो है? Fever आ रहा है, पर पता ही नहीं चल रहा है. Why is that fever coming? So how will you really manage that then? So a lot of psych education that needs to be done, and basics of human behavior. Everyone considers that they know people inherently. सभी बोलते हैं, अरे मैं तो जानता हूँ, मैं तो लोगों को ऐसे परख सकता हूँ. Another thing is, the education helps you know that you can't judge people. You can't, and there are certain bases. Like we study about psychologists and other psychiatrists and other people who have spent lifetime studying and doing the theories, having a scientific approach, and then they've come up with theories of human behavior. We learn those. And we are also taught that you don't judge the people. Yes, परखने की बात नहीं होती है. वो इंसान, why is he doing what he is doing is the question. That is what needs to be understood. So when you say you know people very well, but do you empathize with them? Do you really understand? Can you give them space? Can you hold them space? Can you remain unbiased and allow them to make their own choices and go forward? Are you going to become a crutch and tell them मैं जो बोल रहा है वही ठीक है? Because then they'll start depending on you. So the education of a therapist is what defines all of this. That no, I am. And empowering. Now when a client comes, so we have trauma victims coming in and stuff, it is not uh I feel like I feel that, but I'm to empower them. Empathy means empowering. Another person will not be well equipped if they don't know what is to be done. And the theory is, how do you go back? How do you treat in the mind, body, and spirit? How do you treat this? How do you deal with it? If you say, no, I know, I can do, I can give great advice, that is not the same as being.
There is also one, whether you call it myth or a thought process in the so-called hustle culture
Yeah.
of the youth, that you make yourself so much busy in your work that you don't get enough time to think about all of these. So these things won't create a difference in your life and won't affect your life in any way. Just keep yourself busy in the work. Even I today itself in the morning or afternoon somewhere, I heard Shahrukh Khan saying the same thing in one of his old videos, that I make myself so much busy in my work that I don't get to think about whether I'm sad or whether I'm feeling whatever negative emotion. So that just goes like that. So is it a valid approach?
Yes. No, it's not about valid. And there are, these are called defense mechanisms. So there's an entire topic called defense mechanisms, and there are around 30 plus defense mechanisms.
So do these
distraction, so distraction, what you're talking about is distraction. It works for some and it works for a while.
Okay, for a while.
For a while it will work. Okay. But at one point of time you won't be able to deal with it because it will start throwing up. You will start having these fainting attacks. You will start substance abuse. If you know about Shahrukh Khan, you know the kind of addictions that he does have.
Right.
So you will start relying on other factors to maintain that. Distraction तो कर रहे हो, तो every time distraction करके वो कहीं तो आएगा. Then all these things also come in.
So they doesn't eradicate, just stay.
No. But it's the same thing ना. आप fever आ रहा है, आपको पता है कुछ गड़बड़ है, you're just popping pills. Pain हो रहा है, you're only popping painkillers, not realizing what exercise and physiotherapy you need to do in order to treat that pain. So very similar. Yeah.
And in your professional space, what difference have you found between men and women? From the context, from the axis of behaviors.
You know something, Atharva, I'm a very strong believer of this. When a person comes to me, I don't see them just as per their gender. I see them as an individual. Because what I've seen is, it is especially in my field, it didn't matter if it was a man or a woman.
Wasn't there any pattern?
No, not between a man or a woman. The entire common thread was these were people who were hurt by the people that they trusted and loved. And horrible things were done to them, cruel things were done to them by the people who they trusted and loved. It went beyond gender. And of course, some, as you now, if you come to see, yes, for women, the typical roles in the family, so the situations were similar for a man and a woman. So a man would always say that, we have like this way, the guy friends are like this, they're not getting, I'm trying to be sensitive, they're not getting, so I will just drink. And the habits that they get into, so the drinking and smoking and stuff like that, though I don't specialize in addiction. So, the ways that they would become weak in that ways would be similar. And for women, the way they would cope is like overeating maybe, or crying about it, not being able to balance out the emotions and the pressures. So that those were very gender heavy. So the roles and things, and the difficulty was that they couldn't live up to those expectations. That is where the issue is coming from. Like, they're trying to fulfill all those expectations of what it meant to be a man, what it means to be a woman, and then have that conflict, and then not meet the love and the love for themselves in that sense. And but I've seen men equally being troubled by women, and women being equally troubled. So it was never about the man and the woman. It was the individual that got
The person and the
by
situation.
a predator. So mostly a predator, irrespective of if it was a man or a woman, and then the victim. But yeah, we don't call them. We call them survivors, because that is what they are doing. They wear their scars with pride. So yeah.
So we can't generalize a particular behavior set of among men and
There
women.
is, yeah, but I wouldn't give it so much of importance. Not in. At the end, when they come in for therapy, it is not just the gender that is affected. It is their entire psyche. It is their entire thing that you work, that the individual. And I think that's why, I mean, I'm happy with the work I do, and thankfully my clients are happy with me too. But I see them as an individual rather than the other roles come later on. These days we talk about the narcissistic abuse as well a lot. So it is men and women both can be cruel to the children. In fact, women can be equally abusive to those who are weaker, and the individuals who are weaker than women are children. And you should see how much it is normalized that a woman, it's okay to hit children in our culture. It is
Right.
abuse. So, and the way it is justified. So that is what our society is built on. It's that the stronger person always bullies the weaker one. So it be a man bullying the woman or the woman bullying the child. And that is the thing. People don't understand that man is in the top. Human, as a human, he's in the top of the food chain. We are taught in the third or the fourth standard about the food pyramid, and we are at the top. It's not the lion or the tiger. It's humans. We are the biggest predators on the planet. Until and unless you do not understand the psyche of, you will not. Most of the people who do evil things is because they're highly insecure. Why do you want to assert dominance? Because you feel insecure. If you knew who you are,
Even if the person is not in their senses,
that is a completely different thing. Yeah, they are not in their senses because
like
the
if someone is drunk and
Yes.
he's abusing his like doing violent things,
that is
then
uncivilized, he becomes into an animal then.
hmm.
He's an animal. He will do. There is no societal and civil thing stopping him.
But that has, like, the actions which he's putting out,
Yes.
their root has to be somewhere within
Yeah,
him,
because they were
even in the
abused.
conscious self.
Yes. It will be there. It is because he has also endured something, and that is there. That is that instinct of hurting and killing and stuff is there, and it comes out. So alcohol lowers the inhibitions, what you can do and what is possible for you to do. So there is no civility left. The hallmark of humanity is that it started to become civil to an extent that the predatory nature that humans, that is what you see in the French Revolution and all of that, they try to subdue that. Unfortunately, it went to a very extreme where man was subdued, became very civilized, but then started thinking that the tribals, and started, you see, all the genocides and things, and what happened to the Red Indians, or even the colonization, what it did to
Right.
us. That no, then if a man shows any sort of violence or something, then that is beneath them. So that's how we treat tribals. They're beneath us. Forgetting that they are human beings, even in whatever ways, if they're not dressing properly, if they're not wearing clothes, or if they are showing any aggressive. But they have their own ethics. They have their own communities.
So is it fair to say that the wave of civilization. Like it hasn't yet eradicated or vanished the human psyche of violence or aggression, or the one before civilization, the way human beings were before this whole thing.
No, it will not.
It
It
is
is
it
an
still?
instinct.
It's
Because
still.
you're a social animal. That is what you learn. It will always be there. We still have our canines, don't we?
Right.
Unless those canines don't go, how will it? It will always. But yes, because we are thinking, and you will see this in different philosophical thoughts. Because we can think, because we can control the actions, can we? That is how we should know to differentiate between right and wrong. That is how you can. That has been. Why do people come to India for spirituality? Because our yogis or sadhus have managed to curb to curb those everything. Most spirituality that you see is what is said in the sea. How they have managed to control their desires. Why do you think they go to yogis in the Himalayas who have not eaten for years or who can go without something? त्याग जो त्याग हम बोलते हैं, that is the most something that is respectable. See in the Jains, see in this thing. So think that you let go of. So man is capable of that.
But cutting those things off you.
Yeah. So it's a very complex kind of a thing when you talk about
There
it.
is
Yeah.
there is one thing which
Yeah.
is slightly relatable to this, but very very far from this topic.
Okay.
A series came by recently, Angry Young Men, on Javed Akhtar and
Okay.
Salim Khan.
Okay. I didn't get a chance. But yes.
The writing
yes.
duo of.
Okay. Okay.
So it was a documentary plus series kind of thing. So there they said that their character Gabbar Singh.
Okay.
Why this they were talking about this? Why was it that Gabbar Singh was loved by each and everyone?
Okay.
Every actor in that movie separately went to the director and asking him, even Amitabh Bachchan himself, that I want the role of Gabbar Singh.
Yes.
And the audience, each and every audience loved Gabbar Singh.
Yeah.
We love him till date.
Yeah.
So what was the thing that ignited within the audience or within the people about Gabbar Singh? So they said it was and not just about Gabbar Singh. They're all the characters which they wrote, the angry young men characters of Amitabh Bachchan in Deewar and Zanjeer.
Yes.
It was there because these characters, Gabbar Singh, Deewar, Zanjeer में जो जय and Vijay थे, these characters they had no morality. They had nothing to stop them under the umbrella of civilization. Right? Gabbar Singh was brutal. He had no hesitation in killing the young child in the starting scene of the movie. Right? He had no hesitation in cutting the arms of the Thakur. So he was not burdened under morality, under human civilization, under anything. He was pure animal. That's how they portrayed him. And that instinct got ignited among the audience, and that's why they loved him, because everyone, some way or the other, we are all bounded by morality. In sometimes we do feel that यार अगर ये moral नहीं होता तो मैं तो ये कर देता. I feel like this, but no, these are my ethics, therefore I will not do it.
It is
Those characters was beyond ethics and moral values. And that's how they functioned, and that's how it clicked something within the people that yes, this is something nice.
That is, no, for this is the interpretation of the writers.
Yeah, that's how
They
they
have
wrote it.
not seen what the masses must have felt about it. Now the thing is, the reason, like this is again my personal view. I again cannot analyze the data. There are a couple of things here. Here is the value that the villain was given in the movie. You see, just the way a hero is portrayed, और उसका पूरा एक अभी hero आ रहा है, उस hero की entry आ रही है. Same was done with Gabbar's things as well. सब बच्चा अगर आता है तो गब्बर का नाम सुनते ही. That is one thing. So in psychology we call it preconditioning. That character was already preconditioned to get fame and to like it. All they had to say कि Amitabh Bachchan also wanted that role. बस हो गया. You have influenced the masses saying that the person who they like also wanted it, so we also want it. It becomes that. Now what they are doing is not. Second is, we remember Gabbar only for that dialogue. तुम्हारे कितने it was a hilarity, it was humor. It became a humorous thing to do that, and it was not Gabbar per se. It was Hema Malini's that dance, nach, like you have to dance, and it was that item number and stuff, and that scene that created
the multiple elements connected to it.
Yes, it was that. So this, Another, the angry young man, that is what India was. So the British rule that we had just started off, the social conditioning at that time, the middle class was coming up very powerful at that point of time. And Amitabh Bachchan's all roles were associated with that downtrodden man. People were angry with the governments. People were angry in their situations. There was a lot of unemployment happening. And then a character was created, was written, and that was identified. Something very similar to Harry Potter, and why people, like, I was 10 when Harry Potter was 10, so when the books were released. Also, so, around 11, 12, I think. So yeah, we identified because yeah, we were struggling with friendship. We had these schools we all wanted to leave because school was horrible. Everyone hoped we had a school like Hogwarts. You're getting it. So characters become famous when they can identify with the masses and the current situation that you are in. So any character you see of any age, like even if it is Pride and Prejudice and stuff, if you see any of the characters will have some sort of a inkling towards what was the social scenario at that point and what the masses need. So this comes as a collective thought.
Like what could link the relatability among
Yes,
the
the
masses and
collective. Angry young men. That is what the collective thought was at that time. And Amitabh Bachchan was that star who portrayed that. Tall, dark, and handsome. Not dark, he was pretty fair. But, and he was Coolie also. His movie, there were so many movies that came and showed that portrayal.
Right.
And these were the masses, they were thousands in number. Coming from the Gao se Sheherana, all these were common themes that represented it. And who did it well became. And then, of course, it became. So if he became hit in 2-3 films, any film he would do, it would get attracted as well. Now, here also, you see this movie of Ranbir Kapoor, also of Animal Farm. You see the machoism that has been, because feminism is being this thing, there is a upper thing also, why should feminism be there? So there's this machoism also that is coming in power. This was the right movie at that time. So many people like it as well because violence towards women has increased. And many people justify it. That, I would say, is a character why people do want to identify with him. Because in a way they have shown a hero. Like बीच में वो gangster movies भी बहुत थे जब छोटा means all these Vastav and all of that was there. Sunil Dutt's movie. So when the situation, people start identifying that because that's what they're reading in the news. So that is my interpretation of it as well.
Have you seen Gangs of Wasseypur? How would you comment on that? Because it's a universe in itself, both the parts.
Real. It depicted the real, and the acting was brilliant. It was real. This is what was the reality of the situation. The characterization, there was no hero or villain in it. They were just characters, and that's what made it like.
And
this
every
is
character had their own motive and story and background story.
and that is the most means at
toxic
least
traits.
yeah, and they did justice to all of them. They did, the actors as well as directors, the screenplay, and I don't know kind of research work that must have gone into it. But yeah.
They say it's a real story. Like the actor Zishan, he came to Anurag Kashyap with the story, and Anurag Kashyap said, "This is the same story." There was a movie in Hollywood, I can't remember the name. Anurag Kashyap just said, "This is the same story as that." Then Zishan said, "No, this is real."
Yeah.
So he said, "Show me the evidence, come with all the documentation." So Zishan went back to those areas and
then
came with all the newspaper cuttings and
Cuttings and
everything.
everything.
And then came again to Anurag Kashyap. That see, then he showed him that okay, all of this is true. Then they went back to the place, sightseeing and everything, and then the shooting started.
Best is, but it has to be done really well with respect. So no, it's a movie. It's takes a lot to digest. Poster, but yeah, I still have, when I'm in one of my angry moods, that song "Teri Keh Ke Lunga" is the song that plays on my playlist.
It's re-releasing in the theaters, 30th
Yeah, it's
August.
again.
One week maybe.
Yeah, but I wouldn't know. It's yeah, we do want. That is why we see through and live it through movies. That's why when you said there's an instinctual, predatory, violent part in us which does enjoy having that.
Such kind of entertainment.
Yeah, but we see it only as entertainment, so it's a different thing. But if you go to see, would you do it? Would you actually go ahead and hurt a person? And to what level is a question mark. And
Actually, that's the sword which lays on the throat of directors, because for them it's like, would they be free to have that artistic liberty or are they just entertainers, or they have to be responsible for the society as well and for the
They need
morals
to
of the
be.
society
They
and
need to
everything.
be.
This
They
is
need
what
to
they
be.
juggle
You
with.
do it. No, it's a same thing as journalism. I feel the what you report, you do it like DD News is one of the things which has no bias in it. You report the incident as it is. That is what Gangs of Wasseypur did. You report. It's like a reporting, right? Reporting of real events of what happened and what they did. That will always win the masses. But when you start coloring a character, like an animal and stuff and things, where it is devoid and you are making him into a hero. In Gangs of Wasseypur, everyone got a due of what they did. Means that karma came back or what actions were there, they got the repercussions. Right. But in where you portray someone as a hero and stuff and things, that's why they didn't choose any big star in it. That is the difference. So that casting also was done very well. So they did their moral responsibility. But when you do casting and when you are portraying a hero into a role which is debatable, then you will lose it. You will have a backlash. Because then that is a moral responsibility.
Like then that's the price you have to pay for your taken artistic liberty.
Yes,
If you have taken it,
yes.
then that is the backlash.
Yeah, and here I also would, when it comes to violence, when I said, these days, since the Kolkata case and stuff, a lot of people I'm seeing also many people are putting on self-defense videos. I do extremely believe, like even my kid goes for self-defense. I believe in that. And I had also tried to, it was one of the things I always wanted to learn, but I couldn't. But I did a few classes and I had an amazing mentor. He told me it starts with the mind. So the thing is, it is no point you teaching the girl that do this kick and that thing. The intent of hurting someone, even if they are close to you, is what matters.
The fight or flight situation.
Yeah, no, taking. The thing is, a woman, now, if you tell her, and even many men also, will you be willing to stab a person if he come at you? Many won't. थप्पड़ मारेंगे किसी को हमें बिकॉज बचपन से क्या सिखाया जाता है कोई अगर तुम्हें थप्पड़ मारता है तो तुम्हें मारना नहीं है उसको तुमने फाइट मत करो यू डोंट डू स्पेशली फॉर द गर्ल्स ऑल्सो नाउ दे आर ग्रूमिंग देम डिफरेंटली अगर तुम्हारे साथ कुछ करता है वो देन यू हैव टू हिट बैक हाउ डू यू डिफेंड योर सेल्फ सो दैट इज वॉट नहीं तो मोस्ट सो इवन फॉर मी व्हेन माई सर वाज आल्सो टेलिंग लाइक पंच hit it with I said nahi I won't be able to nahi because I am a woman, I'm a mother, I should not be doing that. So he got me out of that mentality that if someone, and the most challenging is someone who would you be willing to punch that person or not? For men it's not that. That's why most of the domestic abuse also you see if men, but of course there are some cases where women also hit back because that's what then the internal survival instincts kick in, and so it's all about the grooming and the mental state that are you going to hit someone and it is possible for you to do that, but still have the restraint that you don't do it unless it's absolutely required.
Like beyond the physical restraint, it's more about a mental restraint to have the ability to.
It is not about physical overpowerment. It is thinking on your feet. But what happens is when you are attacked, you go into this freeze response. That abhi main abhi kya karu? Anything I don't have to have a physique to really hit or harm someone. If someone is coming at me, I know there is a scissor here, I just pick it up, I pick a pen and I just be ready to do that. It is a presence of moment at that point of time as well. And that is what needs to be taught to girls.
What you will decide at that high adrenaline point.
Yeah, and trusting your guts and instincts. पता है कुछ गड़बड़, everyone has it, all human beings. कुछ होने वाला है. But yeah, ultimately predators trained, like if you see serial killers and stuff and things like that way in criminal psychology, they see their prey. They are able to distinct their body language, their eye contact and stuff, and then they choose. So it's like they prey on them. It's like that.
So it's not like randomly picking anyone and.
No, they will never pick a woman who is strong enough or who they feel is showing confidence in her body language.
They will judge.
Yeah, they will not. It's a selection process, Atharva. It's a selection process.
That goes by through their guts as well.
Their instincts, yes, their instincts as well. They're trained for it, and they are either groomed sometimes by other people, other men. Like how we have communities where we want to do good. There are communities and bullies do this only. Isko chalo, the weakest is bullied upon and stuff and things. So that needs to be stopped in school itself and taught. All these कहाँ कुछ नहीं पता है. Where is all of this that we are talking and discussing? कहाँ पे कौन कर रहा है? Reels आजकल तो on Instagram जो trending है, it should be that what you are saying is genuine and authentic and that goes trending. Here is the other way. क्या topic चल रहा है, आप उस पे reel बना के फिर आप कर रहे हो. So it's a little messed up, but I still have hope for the future. I think we are in it's a much better place than what we were 20 years back. In terms of awareness, in terms of, a lot of people said ki, many psychologists also, so I had an interview with another psychologist. She was doing a paper that, aajkal a lot of influencers are also talking about mental health and stuff, and people are not happy actually because they're giving misinformation. I said that when no one was talking about it, you were still complaining that there is not awareness. And now you're complaining because there is awareness, but it is wrong awareness. I said you can't speak both ways. Now that there is awareness, now make ensure that it is the right information is coming.
There is always a little adjustment on both of the sides.
But see, you have many people are talking about it on a daily basis. But of course, there is not.
Friends are talking among themselves, like friend circles
and misuse होगा ही. These are part and parcel. Misuse होगा ही. But now then it's a process ना, one step. पहले तो कुछ कोई बोल ही नहीं रहा था, अभी एटलीस्ट बोल तो रहे हैं.
पहले लोग मानते भी नहीं थे.
मानते भी नहीं थे. अभी भी नहीं मानते, अभी भी बहुत करना पड़ता है. But still there is a majority who believes now and understands it. And slowly but people are misusing it, but slowly now people will understand that also. It's like specialization हो रहा है धीरे धीरे. It's a growing society.
लॉयर्स के साथ में पॉडकास्ट किया था. सो उनके साथ हम लोग ऐसे ही क्राइम क्रिमिनल केसेस और ये सब डिस्कस कर रहे थे. सो उन्होंने एक चीज़ बोली कि जैसे कि कोई मर्डरर्स है, तो उन्होंने कहा हर इंसान जिसने किसी का मर्डर किया वो मर्डरर नहीं है. मैंने कि कुछ लोग होते हैं जैसे कि मैंने आपको बुलाया, मैंने यहाँ पे कहीं तो भी तलवार या चाकू छुपा के रखा, आप आए, मैंने आपको धक्का दिया और मैंने आपको स्टैब किया और ऐसे मारा तो मैं मर्डर हूँ. बट कभी कभी क्योंकि उन्होंने मुझे केसेस के एग्जाम्पल बताए कि अब्यूजिंग चल रही है, किसी ने उसकी वाइफ को कुछ छेड़ दिया एंड आउट ऑफ एड्रेनलिन और इन द मोमेंट ऑफ हीट, इन द हीट ऑफ द मोमेंट कुछ हो गया एंड एक्सीडेंटली.
That is fine. It's called one in first degree, second degree, third degree, and in plain cold blood. So that is why there are degrees of
the bifurcations
the
of
bifurcations
the kind
are
of
also there. In accidents also, intentionally कि अभी वो जो accident हुआ था, intentionally हुआ वो under influence of alcohol क्या है, तो उसमें के भी काफी bifurcations आते हैं with respect to that. Is it first degree? And also self defense में भी हो सकता है. And in India, if you draw blood in a fight, it's half murder. So even you may be simply punching someone, खून आ गया, you've done half murder. तो वो भी काफ़ी means so the laws are stringent and they should be stringent as well. But हाँ, वो heat of the moment. So that's why they say it's first degree. Or again, there are bifurcations with respect to that as well.
What happened in Kolkata? Would that come under narcissistic?
No, it comes under psychopathy.
Psychopathy.
Yes, psychopathy means there are individuals where there is brain issues right from childhood as well.
Like
and if it's not checked,
chemical or
chemical also, and internal psychological also. So in just the way that some children may be form deformed, or there are issues. So mental health, maybe that neuron or that chemical was not there only. Like some people just don't feel emotions. So all that is, they are functioning perfectly well, but they just, it's like some people are colorblind. आपको कभी पता नहीं चलेगा कि they are colorblind. So that's a very wrong example for me to set, but I don't know how else to put it in that scenario. But yes, there is something flawed in them. Some also go through so much of abuse and stuff that the child gets
molded
deformed, fractured, dies.
Okay.
Means the humanity is only killed. Like they cannot feel anything beyond that.
Like the experiences which they had in their life.
Yeah. And some of them are even groomed, as I said. They are groomed by the abuser. This is what you do. This is how you're taught. There are certain family and certain way where people groom the other person to abuse. Like now, imagine if you had a friend and stuff. Both are in the psychopathy. आपको join किया. देखो ऐसे करना है. अभी अगली बार ऐसे करते हैं. And there are people who enjoy doing this as well. Some people do it also, they get an anxiety or some kind of an attack, and then they need to so this I'm talking about serial killing, not just with Kolkata. With respect to rape, again, it's a power dynamics. It's not just an urge. Because like, how do you get violent? It is trying to deform that body, right? When we talk about gross terms, you are trying to deform another human body. Means imagine the amount of rage that you lose. It's like you just go, your hands and stuff are
You're no
moving.
more human.
You're no more human in that sense. So this is completely psychopathy. It comes under the topic of psychopathy, and criminal psychology and stuff will teach you. So that's very different.
So these kind of personalities can be intentional as well as non-intentional.
No, they are in means
They
it
know
is a
what they
mental
are
illness.
doing.
Yeah, they know what they are doing. It is a you wouldn't call it a. It's a personality. Psychopathy comes under a particular personality type. So it is, and then those traits are they encouraged and they are groomed and stuff like that. So
Like
there
they
is.
know that they are going towards someone
Yeah,
with what intentions
yeah,
and
they
what is
know
going to
that,
happen.
and they get a rush also about it. So yeah, that is how it is. And unfortunately, we don't teach people that. What do we teach children? सभी अच्छे हैं, सभी अंकल अच्छे हैं, सबको प्रणाम करो, सबको. You got to earn. Respect should be earned, not given. Right? No matter what your age is. So
But what's the lens to spot such kind of people in the society?
it can be seen from childhood as well. You will see it in classroom. Sometimes you will see it in your this thing. But then
Like
you
if
know,
someone
chota
is
hai.
having some, like we have people in colleges, in
Yeah,
professional
yeah,
spaces,
not
or
just
in the
professional.
society,
It starts at a
everywhere.
very young age as well. So you will see children also sometimes indulging in it as well, you know. And you have you if you I've worked with juvenile delinquents as well and things like not intentionally. I was like an English teacher to them with this organization called Make a Difference. So you know I worked with them for a year. So some of course some are innocent crimes, but what I'm talking about psychopathy, it starts at a very young age, in the sense that they will start torturing animals, they'll start torturing insects, they'll start. Of course, now a young boy just taking out of curiosity, trying to figure out how a butterfly works is very different. But when you start torturing animals, in the sense that you know you actually take an animal and this thing, you see like kicking dogs, bullying them and stuff, doing things to their. And I'm not just talking about men, okay, girls also. I've heard of cases when this second or third standard children, 2-3 girls were bullying another girl by making her eat mitti. This was in Srinagar. I had come across, and they humiliated her so much, and
So
you
these
know
are the
and
same
stuff.
symptoms or the roots.
No, again, you have to know why they did it. Now, for women, for girls, for some children, they've seen it in TV somewhere, or they've seen someone happen like that. Oh, a story bhi ho sakti, very simple, and they've seen it, and then they're replicating it.
So basically, you need to know the reason behind it
Yes,
and
the
what was the
reasons,
intent.
yes, and talking and stuff and things. Sometimes children see it in their houses, the kind of violence, and then they perpetuate. Yeah, the symptoms in childhood are these are some of them. In teenagers, the working against authority means किसी को मार दिया, किसी को boundary setting, ना नहीं, they can't. They start doing this in teenage only. A girl is saying no, they will still try. It starts with small boundary breaking, stealing
Rebel.
and stuff. Rebel also not in that sense. See, there are rebels कि मैं नहीं करूँगा, homework नहीं करूँगा, or I won't do this.
The light rebels.
It's a different things. But when you take, when you go and they will start molesting their girlfriends or other friends in the class from this thing, doing, pornography also, to what level they will start. So these characteristic traits do start showing from pretty early age. But then either they go unnoticed because either they are coming from, again, all classes have this, like social and economic classes have this. It's not that this is only to the lower classes. Even in high class families, there the boys are protected. So you'll end up doing whatever it is that you want, and then no, baap hai.
There's
Hubby
protection.
hai. There's protection. Lower ones, the crimes go unnoticed. They're thrown out of school. This thing here, they kuch nahi. But then in secret se kar diya, किसी को पता भी नहीं चला. So stuff like that way starts to happen in different levels. So it's there.
This needs to
Spotting
be
it.
taught to students.
Yeah, it needs to.
It's important,
Yeah,
I think.
it is absolute, but no one wants to talk about it. And even if I say this, even if I make a video and set it up, imagine the kind of ऐसे कैसे बोल सकती है? How is she even talking about this? Then I will have more other people telling psychologists, नहीं ये तो आप गलत बोल रहे. They will take out the technicalities of it.
I know.
So it becomes like that. But yeah, these are the real. That is why story is a better way to explain and things, and give examples. And yeah, movies you make, and so movies should be made. This is what needs to be included in today's where advertisements sometimes show all this. Nowadays, the advertisement sector is doing some really good job. Even more than movie makers, I think some of the advertisements are really good. So, and influencers are there, but that kind of awareness needs to be there for sure. So that's been my endeavor. So I really want to talk about this and let people. But
can the stories be created around this
yes,
psychotic and everything?
yes, psychopathy and all of that
Psychopathy,
also. Yeah, there can be writers come in and I can make one. Right now, articles so I'm writing, but yeah, story formulation and stuff. Now we were waiting for the platform to start. Now we'll start with the marketing and we'll invite authors to collaborate with us. But let's see how that goes with respect to that. Yeah.
Because in the schools or in the education institutes, we have reached little good touch, bad touch.
Yes,
This
only.
is the only. But if we look back, even this is a milestone.
Yeah, exactly.
But we need to
But
go
that
much more
also
further.
कहाँ पे कितना so many unreported instances and बड़े wrong instances भी हो जाते हैं and it is only to girls. Boys का भी होता है. How many people? Some people do talk about it. Some people still feel shy about it. So again, society to society. In metropolitan cities, it's more. In tier 2, tier 3 cities, people are not able to speak, especially women. Speaking of their experiences, I know what it's taken me to be here and be you asking me questions and I'm feeling confident enough to answer each and every question. It's taken me many years to do that. So, and to learn and to understand and to accept it and to talk and then communicate it. Because it's shocking when you see that humans are capable of such deviance. वो तो फिर जल्लाद हेते monsters, but still movies में ऐसे बोलते, but to actually witness it also is it's bad. But yeah.